It's a beautiful Friday morning right here on iBrand Daybreak, your favorite breakfast show on television. We are glad to be on your screens this beautiful morning. I'm sure you had a restful night and also you're jacking and waiting to explore your day as we delve right into the weekend. My name is Margaret Opera, and trust me, if you're on the road to office, you're at the office already, in traffic, just sit by and enjoy the best we have for you this beautiful morning. And I wouldn't be doing this alone because I have my amazing colleague right here with me in the studio.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Samson the Lady, and it promises to be another exciting edition of the show. It is the last week, the one for the week, and it promises to be exciting as always. Now we've got loaded show for you, talking about the various segments. We have news updates. We'll keep you abreast with the developments happening across the world. We also have the newspaper review, where we'll review major headlines making our national dailies. And do not forget our discussion segments, where we have a guest waiting by to discuss the topic of today's discussion, and as well as the social media buzz. So it's a loaded package as always when it comes to the edition of the show. And I'm waiting. I can't, begin. Let's just begin. That's what it is.
Yeah, we're just begin right now with the news update. The first story here says President Muhammad Buhari on Thursday visited the Lagos residence of a former Nigerian leader, Ernest Shonekan. Shonekan was the head of the interim national government between August 26, 1993 and November 17, 1993. Died on Tuesday at a hospital in Lagos. 2 days after his death, Buhari was in the Shonekan Ikoyi residence to commiserate with the deceased family. The president was accompanied by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his Ogun and Yobe counterparts Dapo Abiodun and Mai Malabuni.
And still talking national matters, as part of the ongoing efforts of the federal government to improve the nation's security, President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday commissioned 200 Buffalo-branded operational vehicles and other security and medical equipment for the Nigerian police force in Abuja. The items, which included bulletproof vests, protective helmets, drugs, and medical equipment, were donated to the Nigerian police force by the Nigerian Police Trust Fund in its 2020 intervention to the force targeted towards proper policing the country. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Police Affairs, Dr. Mohammed Maigari Dingayedi, handed over operational vehicles and other security hardware to the Inspector General of Police, Usman Alkali Baba. He stated that this administration was adequately poised to give all that is necessary to the Nigerian Police Trust Fund to enable it to meet its mandate and attain the expectations of the Nigerian police force and Nigerians in general.
And moving on, the River State Governor Nyesom Wike on Thursday inspected 2 illegal refining sites recently discovered in Ikwere and Emoha local government areas by the council chairman. The governor, who was accompanied by the State Commissioner of Police, Eboka Friday, and other leaders of the state, ordered the arrest of those sponsoring the operation of the illegal refineries in the state, some of whom are said to be prominent businessmen in the state. He demanded that the deployment of a devotional police officer said to be involved in the illegal activities in Emoha local government area.
And now on to the international scene. China's aviation regulator said on Friday that it would suspend 2 American Airlines flights from Dallas to Shanghai from January 24th after 7 passengers tested positive for COVID-19 on a recent flight. It will also suspend 2 Delta Air flights from Detroit to Shanghai from the 24th of January after 9 passengers tested positive, the Civil Aviation Administration of China said in a statement on its website. China's aviation regulator has in recent weeks ordered the cancellation of around 70 scheduled flights from the United States. And that's all on news update at this hour. We'll delve into the news headlines right about now, talking about the major headlines making our national dailies.
All right, now starting with the Punch paper, the top story on the Punch says, Amoteco comes Southwest Forest for fleeing Northwest terrorists. And the writers, of course, are saying Amoteco collaborating with hunters, farmers, forest guards to fish out criminals and bandits. And the writer here says President's recent statement shows he doesn't understand how serious insecurity is coming from Afenifere. And moving further down this other story that says NNPC orders may reconstruct federal roads in Ogun. coming from the president, and that story is on page 19. On page 12, the story here says North Central lawmakers back Buni and Dolts Bello. And on page 8, Ibadan elevated Obas to revert to high chiefs. That story is, of course, on the page 8 of the Punch. And to the bottom stream says Igbo has invested everywhere. We are not part of Biafra. Coming from Umahi. Story on page 12. On page 5 says Robert Gill's colleague Amoteko rescued 17 victims in Ondo. Court orders interim forfeiture of 110.4 million naira traced to teacher and accomplices. That's on page 9. And also the earpiece of the paper says LNNG suspects cooking gas export. Channels 100% to domestic market. And that story is on page 21. Page 18 has the one that says telecom subscribers kicks at fresh delays ma NIN insurance. And the NDA agrees socialite Obi Kubana for alleged drug links. That's on page 2. On page 12, there's a story that says, well, we will present presidential candidate for Southeast, says Ohaneze. Nigeria blames immunization suspension as 395 polio cases we surfaced. That's on page 9. And finally, on page 7, it says 16-year-old can now receive COVID-19 jab, says the NPHCDA. More of the stories get the Punch newspaper.
We move on from the Punch newspaper now to the Nation newspaper, where the headline reads 2023 Presidents, APC, PDP weigh options on zoning. And you have the rider there that reads parties reject claims by aspirants and supporters. You also have NLNG to boost domestic market gas supply. And on the upper stream of the paper, you have members who pick PDP candidates, says Ayu Dele Momodu, to run. You also have Ibadan High Chiefs drop crowns, and that's on page 27. Original concepts restored. Twitter restoration, good for businesses. Government plans $500 million investment in technology for youths. That's on page 4 and page 28 respectively. And Buhari opens strategic projects in Ogun. That's also on page 5. And finally, at the bottom stream, you have Soludo picks Ezekwesili, Chidoka, Utomi, others for transition committee. And there you have it regards the Nation newspaper.
Then moving to the Guardian, the beg your pardon, the stop story here says US tightening policies, the risking put Nigeria's economy on red alert. And the writers are saying policymakers of countries with high inflation debts to brace up. Debt refinancing servicing may cost rise to unsustainable level, IMF World Bank warn. Federal government to fund 2022 budget 6.4 trillion naira deficit at higher cost. And the writer here says direct investment would respond to interest hike, says Tariba, or rather Teriba. Nigeria's markets will expect higher interest sources, suggest. And that's now moving further down says North Central legislators passed vote of confidence in Buni and Dolts Bello for president. Now go to the earpiece that says Twitter users intensify civic engagement. Accountability as service is restored. That's on the page 6 of The Guardian. PGF DG wants APC caretaker panel sacked. That's on page 3. Also on page 3 says declare emergency on unemployment. Methodist Church tells the federal government. Balogun Ibadan chiefs drop crowns revert to original hierarchy. That's on page 4. And finally on page 5 says northern youth threaten to short region over tuition fees hike.
Moving on now to this day newspaper, where the headline reads Buhari, Abiodun worthy example of promises made, promises kept. You have the rider that reads reveals Lagos Ibadan Shagamu Benin expressways for completion this year. You also have feels nostalgia for the past as young infantry officer at Lafenwa Barracks. On the earpiece of the paper, you have Emefiele Pan-African Settlement Platform will reduce dollar other FX usage in Africa. And the rider reads new payment system to save continent $5 billion annual forex outflow launched. You also have Dele Momodu notifies PDP of presidential intention, says ambition aimed at reconciliation and healing, and that's on page 36 of this day newspaper. We are tackling mutant poliovirus type 2 outbreak, says the federal government, and that's also on this day newspaper. And finally, on this day newspaper, you have cautious optimism trails research finding on efficacy of cannabis against COVID-19, and that's on page 6. And there you have it, talking about the major headlines making the various dailies right about now. For those that caught your interest, please do pick up the various newspapers we've reviewed, their headlines, and do well to get the necessary information you need. We'll go on a short break right now. When we return, the show continues with our discussion segment. Please do stay tuned.
Glad to have you back on the show. It's still Ivan Daybreak, and it's time now to delve into the discussion segment. Musical instruments have been used since earliest time for a variety of purposes, ranging from the entertainment of concerned audiences to the accompaniment of dances, work, and more. There are hundreds of different kinds of musical instruments, from drums to horns to string instruments. What are the roles these musical instruments play in music production? And joining us to discuss this, we have in the studio David Etekamba, a multi-instrumentalist, a singer, vocal coach, and a music instructor. Quite a huge number of, a huge profile, rather, I would say there. Good morning, David, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
All right, judging from your profile, you're a music director, a singer, a vocal coach, and instrumentalist. So, aside all of those things, what else is David?
Well, David is a passionate father.
Father,
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I'm just a human being.
Of course, I was expecting you to say that you cannot be an animal, you know.
No, what I mean, a simple person. Apart from music, I don't do any other thing apart from music. Yeah.
Okay.
Music is my life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's delve into, the background, how music came to be for you.
Okay.
Was it by chance or it was a deliberate, intention from the onset?
It was a deliberate intention because I had a quite number of gifts growing up, but I had to choose which one to focus on, and I discovered that music came naturally for me, so I stuck to it.
Oh.
This is about 22 years.
Not like
Wow.
it's an innate ability you just grew up.
It was an innate ability that I grew up with, and I decided to back it up with academics too.
By talking about the instruments, some persons say that they learning how to play the instrument was something that was innate for them too. They didn't have to go through any kind of school whatsoever to play the instrument. It just happened. So how was it? Did you, because of your passion for music, learn the instrument, or it was actually innate?
Okay, I would say it was innate, and at the same time I backed it up with knowledge. Growing up, we broke lots of plates in the house, lots of Milo can and all those things, drumming in the evening and all that, and we're beaten for it.
Of course.
Also, singing came naturally for me. At age 9, I started training the choir. Like, I started teaching the choir songs because I grew up in an Orthodox church, the Apostolic Church. We had a choir master that was very good. Then he was transferred, and the next one was a choir master, but just a standing choir master. He couldn't translate the songs. We sing tonic solfas, all those notations, so he couldn't translate it. But for me, it came naturally. I was given the script and I was able to sing it. And when the main choir master heard it, it was like, that is the exact song. So from then on, when they bring new songs, I started teaching the choir until the church sent us for a 3-month music school. That was the starting point. Then from there, personally, small change started coming in. So I had to improve on it myself because I had the passion. Not like I've gotten to where I want to be. Definitely. I still practice. I still try to update myself on a daily basis. So I started with one instrument, but now I can play at least 7 musical instruments. I didn't start as a singer. I started as an instrumentalist. But along the line, I had to go to Muson, and I studied voice major and music theory.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, talking about, because you've just given us, the journey to the coaching aspect of you, being a music tutor, a vocal coach and all. How about the singing aspect? You said it didn't come, early. That came afterwards. You started with the instruments. How did you come about your gift, the ability to sing? Did you have to go to school to also learn that?
Well, I discovered that I could sing. I used to tell people that we have I can sing singers, and we have I know how to sing singers. It's 2 different things. I could sing. If you give me a song, I can sing it. I'll sing and you will love my voice. But I had a limit. But I had to go and learn how to sing so that the limit will be lifted.
Okay.
So the fact that I sing and my voice get cracked was because I didn't know how
To control.
to control, to place my vocal cord, the placement of my vocal cord, so that I won't have a flat tire. Let me use the word flat tire. So knowledge is power. Knowledge takes off the limits and the veil from your eyes. So when I attended, before I went to Muson, I attended Ruach Music School.
Oh, okay.
It's owned by a church, Bread of Life Church. They were at Obaniko before. I think they are still there. I had like 3 months class on voice, diploma class. Then I was like, I'm not satisfied. I had to go to Muson. They did contemporary singing. Muson, they do classical singing. So the blend of the two gave me
a good range.
a good range. Yeah.
Oh, I know. You know, in those days, there were music. Of course, music has always been there from time immemorial. From the dropping of plates to spoons, all of those things as sounds, and putting sounds together could give you a melody, depending on how the mixture of able to drop a cup plate, all those. You said you had broken plates, Milo's cans, and all of that.
Even
so,
Kaon.
yeah, you can actually give musical
Definitely.
sound. So I'm thinking, going back to those days where we didn't have the guitar, the keyboard, acoustic, and the bass guitar. We didn't have the keyboard. We didn't have the drum sets. We didn't have all of those things, and we were still made to sing and produce melodious sound. I think probably through the use of a cappella and all of those things. So I want to highlight saying this. I said that to say this. What do you think is what is the importance of instruments in music in itself?
Okay, first and foremost, I would like to say that even the voice is a musical instrument, because every musical instrument is learned. So the voice, some people say playing the musical instrument came to them naturally. They will be limited. Playing the guitar or playing the keyboard, they'll be limited to a particular key. The same way singing is. Some people say they can sing. So before musical instrument has been since antediluvian age, since the, I think, 4th generation after Adam. Adam is the great grandfather to the father of instrumentalist, who is Jubal. If you read the book of Genesis chapter 4, I think verse 21, he was the first person to play the harp and the flute. And these are musical instruments, the harp and the flute. Even King David also played stringed instruments. So the piano, the guitar, the string instruments came from the harp. The idea, the harp instrument was developed to give us guitar, violin, piano, even the organ. So there has been musical instruments since then, and even the voice can play the role of musical instruments too. If we are like 4 people and you are singing the song, I can decide to play bass guitar with my voice.
Okay.
You can decide to play the piano sound with your voice if you know how to do the sound. Someone can decide to play the drum sound
With the voice, right?
with the voice, and it will sound almost like the musical instruments. So human voice has so much capacity that we can sound like a bird. We can sound like anything we want to produce, even like a siren. We can sound like the on. We can sound like we are so gifted that we can mimic anything if we give ourselves to it. So I would say that musical instrument has been in existence since time immemorial, musical instruments, and we've been producing music before then. Of course, King David wrote the Psalms, also playing the musical instrument. We have the cymbals. If you read the Bible, you say, praise the Lord with cymbals and crashes and all those things, with the harp, with the flute, on stringed instruments. So before the advent of things like bass guitar and lead guitar, we've had musical instruments. So all these instruments are just, let me say, developed. They are updated. Let me use the word modified or updated.
Okay. Before we delve into the essence of instrumentals when it comes to music production, let's look at the various music instruments we have. You talked about the stringed instruments like your violin, your guitar. I know the guitar has varieties.
Yeah.
Can you give us like a distinctive, difference between the lead guitar, the bass guitar, and the likes?
Okay, the bass guitar is plays the role of handles the role of the root of the music.
Okay.
It handles the role of the roots of the music. I will explain it practically. For example, you know Bob Marley's song.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. That sound is the sound of the bass guitar.
Okay.
For the lead guitar, we have rhythm, we have tenor, we have solo, we have the solo guitar, and all these varieties of guitars, lead guitar, are used in different song production of different styles
sounds.
of music. For example, the reggae, they use more of rhythm guitar. Yeah, waka waka, and bass guitar. Then once in a while there can be a solo, but the solo is done more on things like brass instruments,
Okay.
which we have trumpets and the likes. So have I answered your question?
Yes,
Even
you
if you have more things to say.
You have. Let's look at other forms of instruments now beyond the string instruments.
Yeah.
How about other forms of instruments?
Like the piano.
Okay.
Okay, we have varieties of piano. We have acoustic pianos.
Okay.
We have the upright acoustic piano. We have the grand piano. Acoustic pianos are the ones you don't plug to light.
Okay.
So we have organ too. Organ, the difference between organ and piano is that they both have black keys and white keys, and the arrangement of the black keys is just the same like that of the arrangement of the black keys on the organ is just the same like that of the piano, but the difference is the sound they produce. The organ has a sustained sound. When you place your fingers on the organ and you leave it there until you remove your finger, the sound continues.
Okay.
If you leave it there for 3 days, it will sound like that for 3 days. Once you remove your hand, the sound will stop. But the piano, if you press it, it has a limit. Once it gets to that limit, even if your hand is still there, it will stop. Yeah, so that's the difference between the piano and the organ.
Okay.
And we also have digital pianos, which a lot of people call keyboard today. The digital pianos have different instruments in them, wired into them. It can play the role of a guitar, it can play the role of drum set, you can play drums from it. That's what a lot of people use in churches. You can play the role of an organ, you can play the role of saxophone, trumpet, it can play the role of other musical instruments
Just embedded.
embedded in that
one.
keyboard. But the one who is playing it must understand the approach of all these musical instruments. For example, the lead guitar has a particular approach, the trumpet has a particular approach, the saxophone has a particular approach, even the violin, the string instrument. You don't play the violin on the piano as if you are playing a piano.
Piano.
All right. Quickly before we just wrap up, I was going to ask you the role of instruments in music production. I think you had already touched some part of it. Would you just highlight some roles of the music instruments in music production?
The role of instruments in music production. The role of the musical...
Including the mouth instruments, because you mentioned that
the mouth, there is no music without the instruments. Just like you want to go fishing and you don't have the instruments, you can't fish. The instruments for fishing are nets, you have the hook and the line and all those other things. So without the musical instruments, which of course includes the voice, there won't be music. There won't be music. If I'm just tapping my feet, even the tapping of the feet can be an instrument. The clicking of my fingers when I snap my fingers, it can be an instrument. So the role of musical instruments is like going to the market to buy foodstuff, and when you put it inside the pot and put it on fire, it becomes food. So without the foodstuffs, if you have the stove and the pot, without the foodstuff, there will be no food.
All right.
So the musical instruments are the foodstuff. They are what you use to produce the music. Without them, you can't have it. You can't have music at all. So they play a very important role.
Okay. Do you mind playing for us? I mean, yes, okay. You know, you're a singer, songwriter. So
okay,
let's hear something.
I will play one of my French songs.
Okay.
S.A. Peters. I backed him up some time ago, but right now he's in the US.
Okay.
So I hope he watches it. Try to promote his song. The title of the song is Omote.
Omote, okay.
Omote, don't you know? Omote, that this world is filled with lies. So just take my hands and we'll tear down this world with our heart. So let's walk, run, close down every door in our way. And if you fall, oh, I'll pick you up. Oh, and if you cry, I will dry a tear in your eyes, lie, 'cause you're the sweetest thing I know.
I think we should save this song for Valentine's Day. It's beginning to make me emotional. Something, you're not crying.
It's something I can resonate with. Apparently there are two characters. There's the Omote, and you have the protagonist who is, calling for some sort of solidarity and support to be able to weather the storms.
All I can hear is a very nice emotional song. So you analyzing this song, but it's really good. I think I'll make a copy of that song. It's amazing.
Okay. That's great.
All right, thank you so much. So aside being a singer, a songwriter, an instrumentalist, a music director, a vocal coach, what else would you have been? Because some children when they're growing up, I want to be a doctor, lawyer, pharmacist, something else. So what would you have been if you were not all of these things?
I would have been many things.
Pick one. Not relating to music.
I would have been a footballer because I played football. I still play once in a while. I would have been a mathematics teacher.
Good, great. So we're having a career challenge right now. So you said football. I was thinking, well, you can kick for the cup. No, you will break the guitar. Not a good idea.
Table.
No, the table will break your leg too. So now you're mathematics teacher. That means you're very good with math, right?
Yeah,
yes. So you're going to be.
I do it on my guitar.
Hold on. You already picked one. So you're going to act briefly as a mathematics teacher. You teach something mathematics.
Really?
Okay.
I teach us mathematics. No, you're acting it. You're not going to hold a guitar while you're in class,
dy dx.
Or maybe
I don't know what that
almighty formula or algebra.
Or simultaneous equation or linear equation or factorization.
Substitution
If
method.
x plus y is equal to 20.
Okay.
Find x.
X is in Ojota.
X.
Okay, I want to hear that. Well, I don't know. I can't relate to these things that I'm talking about, but since you all know all of it, I think you guys should.
Mathematics was cool. I'm quite surprised.
Mathematics it's a very important subject. That helps you to think.
Teach you.
Really?
Oh, it helps you think. But
yeah, mathematics helps you
I've
to
not
think.
used almighty formula in my career ever.
You may have used it, but you wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. It helps you to get critical in your thoughts.
I don't even know what almighty formula is, by the way. But
when you are given mathematics, is all about solving problems. So, and we solve problems every day.
Makes you critical in your
It helps you to when you apply. We apply mathematics every day because we solve problems. You say, okay, if Mr. Bayo goes to the market to buy 17 oranges and he gave 5 to Uncle Simi, how many is remaining?
All right.
Okay.
I think you're a really good math teacher. I can give that to you. So, but thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We still have you right here. Now we'll just go straight into the social media box. Yeah, what social media is saying, what Nigerians are saying on social media. So this is social media boss here. Something, would you want to start with the first one?
Well, let me take it. And the social media buzz basically is about a comment from popular singer Timi Dakolo, who says, or who tweeted, I beg your pardon, that you can be really famous. I mean, really, really famous and still be broke. Okay, bye. Hashtag okay, bye. And that generated lots of reactions from Nigerians. And here you have Papitino that reads, "This is the most depressing situation possible. Imagine only being able to afford downfall but can't enter downfall because you're famous." And then finished there with a cry emoji. You also have Lydia Biney that says, "I thought fame comes with massive wealth." And you also have Vihavian who says it comes with wealth if they know how to make use of it and the right people get to it.
All right. Someone else said, Cedric Baby Anthony said, Sapa no recognized celeb. Okay. Another one, Vizeham also replied and said, okay, it comes with wealth, but if you know how to make use of it and the right people to get to it. But then, really, does fame come with wealth? I think let me just start with his reaction.
With his reaction.
Okay, fame gives you opportunities. If you know how to maximize the opportunities, that's what makes you wealthy. I think wealth is knowing how to maximize the opportunities that come to you and knowing how to manage your resources. I won't mention some people's name, their names. When I started music, I was opportune to play for one of the popular musicians, Eddie Montana. I backed him up for some time, and he had his counterparts. They were in the same group. Two-Face was in a group with some people, but opportunities came to all of them. They were, at that time, they were all famous on the same pedestal. But someone took advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him, and he's still evergreen till today. The problem with celeb is that there is so much fake life.
So they live in the moment.
What the society expects you to live a certain way. I want to put it like that. So it makes you be fake.
It makes you so you want to impress the society at the expense of what you should have done. In the football sphere, there was the first person to buy a private jet was not Okocha. The first person to buy a private jet is broke now.
Wow. All right. I think that's just really what we needed to hear your thoughts on. Well, some people can really be famous and still be broke. That's why you have some of the celebrities. They need money for health issues, and they go around, and you're asking this person. I thought he's supposed to be rich, but I'd rather be very rich and not famous rather than be famous. Everyone knows you want to take selfies with you. You don't have that amount of money in your account.
Well, fame is basically like a platform. It showcases your talent out there. So what you make of that talent and the opportunities that comes your way is what determines how wealthy you are. I think at the end of the day, it just calls on people to make use of the opportunities they have, and more importantly, to live within their means. Because when you live within your means and you're not trying to meet up with certain, societal standards or dictates,
expectations,
you'll be comfortable at the end of the day.
All right, you've heard all of that. That's a wrap on the show today. I'll leave you with a quote that says it relates to what we're talking about. He said, "Opportunities don't happen; you create them." I'll say that again. Opportunities don't happen; you create them. And it's a quote from Chris Crosser. So thank you so much for joining us. Do well to join us tomorrow, or rather on Monday, for a fresh new episode on iBrandTV. Thank you to everyone who has stayed put to make this production a success. We appreciate you, and we hope you join us. And without you, there is no iBrand Daybreak. My name is Margaret Opara.
And I'm Samson Olede. Thank you so much. Do have a wonderful weekend and stay blessed.